Someone is choosing you every day because you have become something rare in a world where people drift in and out of each other's lives like passing shadows. You have become a steady flame in a place filled with flickering lights, a quiet truth in a world where promises often evaporate the moment they are spoken, a kind of presence that calms instead of confuses. It isn't because you're perfect, or because you never make mistakes, or because you've somehow cracked the code of being flawlessly lovable. It's because you are something real in a time where most things feel temporary, rushed, or replaceable. You are someone who shows up with heart, who listens even when others would turn away. Who stays even when the world makes leaving look easier. And that is why someone chooses you, again and again, day after day. Because in you, they found the rarest thing of all, a constant. They may not always say it. They may not always show it in ways you can immediately recognize. But somewhere between the quiet moments and the loud ones, between the conversations that last hours and the silences that rest gently between you, they choose you. They choose you when they wake up and check their phone hoping to see your name. They choose you when something good happens and you're the first person they want to tell. They choose you when something bad happens and your voice is the only one that makes sense. They choose you when they're tired and overwhelmed and the world feels heavier than it should, and somehow your presence gives them strength to keep going. They choose you when they laugh, because sharing their joy with you just feels right. They choose you when they cry, because vulnerability feels safer with you than with anyone else. And they choose you even in the moments when you don't feel like you deserve to be chosen. You became their one constant not because you tried to be everything, but because you simply were yourself. The world is full of temporary people, people who love until things get inconvenient, people who stay until something easier comes along, people who speak with sincerity but act with inconsistency. People who promise forever but can't handle a difficult moment. Temporary people dress up their short-lived affection as something meaningful, and often it takes time to realize how quickly they change direction. But you, without even trying to be extraordinary, became something they couldn't walk away from. You became a quiet anchor. A familiar heartbeat. A safe place in a world where most places feel unsafe. You became the one thing they trust in a world that often feels unpredictable. You might not understand the weight of that. You might not realize how rare it is to be chosen repeatedly. But think about it, the world is filled with countless faces, countless voices, countless distractions. People are constantly pulled in different directions: work, stress, expectations, responsibilities, pressure, fear, insecurity, doubt. And yet even with all that noise, their heart still tilts toward you. They still find themselves drawn to your presence, your words, your energy, your way of being. That's not an accident, that's a choice, day after day. It means you matter more than you realize. It means your essence, your kindness, your patience, your softness, your strength, creates a feeling that isn't easily replaced. You became their constant because you bring something steady to their life, something balanced. Even your imperfections don't push them away. In fact, those imperfections make you more human, more real, more trustworthy. They aren't looking for a flawless person, they're looking for someone who feels genuine, consistent, emotionally safe. Someone whose presence doesn't exhaust them. Someone who doesn't treat affection like a switch that can be turned on and off depending on convenience. Someone who doesn't withhold their heart when things get complicated or uncomfortable. Someone who doesn't disappear when feelings become heavy or responsibilities become real. You became that someone simply by existing the way you do. Without pretense. Without games. Without manipulation. Without trying to be more than who you are. In a world where temporary connections glitter everywhere. Where it feels like almost everyone is searching for something new before appreciating what they already have, you became a rare kind of constant, a person whose presence makes someone else breathe easier. A heartbeat that doesn't break rhythm. A voice that feels familiar even when the world feels strange. A place where someone feels seen, understood, valued, and emotionally held, and the truth is, you might not even see your own worth in the way they do. You may think you're ordinary, or not enough, or too flawed. You may think you're too soft, too emotional, too hesitant, too complicated, too quiet, too loud, too imperfect. But none of those things change the fact that someone looks at you and sees constancy. They see the one person who doesn't complicate things unnecessarily, the one person who doesn't abandon them when they slip, the one person whose presence doesn't trigger fear or uncertainty. They see the one person who brings peace instead of chaos. Someone who listens without judgment, cares without keeping score, loves without expecting perfection. You might feel like you don't always know what you're doing. You might feel like you're trying to figure life out as you go. But that's part of the beauty, they choose you even through your uncertainty. They choose you not because you have all the answers, but because you're willing to grow. Because you're willing to show up with gentleness. Because you're willing to say, I don't know everything, but I'm here. Because you choose them too, even when you don't say it out loud. Because you have quietly shown them that love can be steady, and loyalty doesn't have to be loud, in a world where temporary people leave emotional debris behind, unreplied messages, broken trust, abandoned feelings, someone sees you as the exception. They see you as the one person who doesn't run when things get difficult. They see you as the one who makes them feel chosen without having to constantly fight for attention or reassurance. They see you as someone whose loyalty is rooted in sincerity, not convenience. They see you as someone whose care isn't conditional, whose affection isn't a performance, whose words hold weight. They choose you because you bring a kind of emotional stability they didn't even know they needed. They choose you because they feel safe telling you things they've never said out loud before. They choose you because they can be themselves with you, messy, confused, hopeful, uncertain, dreaming, afraid, complicated, imperfect. They choose you because your presence feels like exhaling after holding their breath for too long. They choose you because you understand them in ways others didn't bother to. They choose you because their soul recognizes something in you, a quiet truth, a steady heartbeat, a gentle refuge. You might have been told before that people get bored, that people change their minds, that people outgrow each other, that people love until something better comes along. But this is not that. Not with them. Because someone looked at you and saw not a temporary moment but a lasting connection. Someone looked at you and saw home. Not a house, not a place, not a physical location, but a feeling. That warm, familiar feeling that says, I belong here. That sense of comfort that says, this is where my heart is safe. That quiet truth that says, this is the person I want to keep choosing. And the beautiful thing is, their choice is not about dependency. They don't choose you because they need you to survive. They choose you because life feels better with you in it. They choose you because you add meaning, warmth, clarity, and softness where the world can be harsh. They choose you because you make hard days manageable and good days even brighter. They choose you because you encourage them to grow without making them feel inadequate. They choose you because you inspire them without trying to. They choose you because you make them feel valued in ways the world rarely does. You might not notice the small ways they choose you every day, but they are there. In every message they send. In every moment they make time for you despite their schedule. In every piece of good news they share with you first. In every part of their daily routine where you naturally fit. In every conversation where they trust you with their truth. In every glance, every touch, every word spoken with warmth, every silence shared with comfort. In every future plan where your presence is simply assumed. In every choice where they could drift away but choose to stay close instead. Someone chooses you every day because you give them something real. Something honest. Something steady. Something grounding. Something healing. Something inspiring. Something gentle. Something hopeful. Something rare. Something that feels like love even when you don't call it that. Something that feels like loyalty even when you don't define it. Something that feels like home even when you're miles apart. And you deserve to be chosen. You deserve someone who stays, not someone who leaves when things get complicated. You deserve someone who picks you in moments of doubt, not just moments of convenience. You deserve someone who looks at you and sees possibility, not a placeholder. You deserve someone who makes you feel safe, not anxious. You deserve someone who honors your heart, not someone who treats it carelessly. You deserve someone whose loyalty is active, not conditional. You deserve to be someone's constant too. And maybe you already are, maybe you don't even realize how much your presence means to them. Maybe they don't always have the perfect words, but their actions speak. Maybe their heart remembers you even when their mind is busy. Maybe their loyalty is quieter than others, but stronger than any temporary affection they have known. Maybe the love they feel is something they are still learning how to express, but the certainty they feel about you is already solid. You are not temporary. You are not replaceable. You are not a moment someone will forget when something new distracts them. You are a constant, a steady, a grounding force, a gentle presence, a rare kind of soul. And that is why someone chooses you, because you are a person who brings warmth without burning, light without blinding, love without destroying, honesty without hurting. Because you are a person who loves with intention, listens with depth, and stays with sincerity. Because you have a heart that doesn't give up easily, a spirit that doesn't abandon people, a soul that shows love in ways many people can't imitate, and maybe you've been hurt before by temporary people. Maybe you've given your heart to those who didn't deserve it, trusted those who weren't ready, cared for those who took you for granted. Maybe you've felt like being constant is a weakness in a world where people value convenience over commitment. But your constancy has never been a flaw, it has been your strength. It has been the reason someone now sees you as irreplaceable. It has been the reason someone chooses you every day, even on days when you can't see your own value. You became someone's constant because you refused to let the temporary nature of others change your nature. You stayed kind in a world that told you kindness is naive. You stayed honest in a world that rewarded manipulation. You stayed loyal in a world that normalized inconsistency. You stayed soft in a world that tried to harden you. And because of that, you didn't just survive, you became someone's safe place. Someone chooses you because when the world feels overwhelming, you remind them of peace. When life feels chaotic, you remind them of stability. When they feel unseen, you remind them of their worth. When they feel lost, you remind them of direction. When they feel alone, you remind them that they are deeply connected to you, and that is something temporary people can never offer. Temporary people give moments. You give meaning. Temporary people offer excitement. You offer depth. Temporary people create memories. You create home, so yes, someone is choosing you every day. Not by chance. Not by accident. Not because you're their only option. But because you have become their constant, the one soul they trust, the one heart they understand, the one presence that feels like truth. And even if you still doubt yourself sometimes, even if you can't see what they see, the truth remains. You are a rare kind of steady in a world full of temporary things. And someone is grateful for you in ways you may never fully know. They choose you today. They will choose you tomorrow. Not because they have to, but because their heart recognizes where it feels most at home. Because loyalty comes naturally to them when it comes to you. Because peace feels more real with you than with anyone else. Because connection feels deeper with you than with passing faces. Because love feels safer with you than with temporary people, and maybe you didn't realize it until now, but when someone chooses you again and again, that is one of the purest forms of love. Quiet, consistent, sincere, and unwavering. Not loud like temporary affection, not dramatic like fleeting emotion, just steady, like a heartbeat that keeps rhythm through every season, every storm, every moment. You deserve that kind of love. You deserve that kind of constancy. And someone has already found it in you. And perhaps the most beautiful thing is this: you didn't have to fight for this place in their life. You didn't have to beg for their attention, adjust yourself to fit their expectations, or shrink to keep them comfortable. You didn't have to play games or compromise your self-worth. You didn't have to become louder or quieter, stronger or softer, more perfect or less expressive. You didn't have to be anyone except yourself. And still, they chose you. Still, they continue to choose you, not out of obligation, not out of guilt, not out of loneliness, not out of fear, but because something deep within them is at peace with you. They choose you because your presence feels like honesty in a world full of pretense. They choose you because you make them feel worthy in ways they didn't know they needed. They choose you because you see them, not the version they show the world, but the version they hide, protect, and often silence. They choose you because even their rough edges feel safe in your hands. They choose you because you don't demand perfection. Yet somehow you inspire them to become a better version of themselves. They choose you because you are consistent in a world where constancy has become rare enough to feel like a miracle. Someone who chooses you every day is someone who sees your scars and doesn't flinch. Someone who hears your doubts and doesn't distance themselves. Someone who listens to your fears and doesn't call them weaknesses. Someone who experiences your silence and doesn't mistake it for disinterest. Someone who feels your hesitation and stays patient. Someone who notices your imperfections and loves you not despite them, but with them, as if every flaw adds a layer to the connection rather than removing one. You became their constant not because you demanded that role, but because your presence naturally settled into that space. Like a star that doesn't try to shine but lights the night anyway, you became a source of steadiness in their life without forcing it. And now, they return to you the way the tide returns to the shore, naturally, instinctively, without hesitation. Not as a duty, but as a truth. Not as a routine, but as a choice. The world can be loud, unpredictable, cold. People can be uncertain, indecisive, easily swayed by fear or convenience. But when someone chooses you despite all that noise, it means you bring something to their life that silence can't replace and distance can't diminish. It means you have become an oasis in a world that often feels like a desert. It means you are warmth in a season that doesn't offer much of it. It means your heart has a way of making others feel alive, secure, grounded, hopeful. Maybe you don't see your own light clearly. Maybe you dismiss the qualities that make you extraordinary because to you, they feel normal. Your compassion, your empathy, your presence, your constancy, they may feel natural to you, but to someone else, they are life-changing. To someone else, they are the reason they breathe easier at night. To someone else, they are the reason they believe that genuine connection still exists. To someone else, they are the reason they wake up feeling less alone. And one day, you will fully understand the magnitude of that. You will understand that being someone's constant is not a small thing. It is not an accident or a coincidence. It is a testament to your heart, your resilience, your emotional depth, your ability to love with sincerity, your capacity to stay when the world teaches people to run. You will realize that you didn't just become someone's constant, you became someone's peace, someone's support, someone's grounding force, someone's quiet miracle. The truth is, you deserve to be chosen by someone who sees your worth fully. You deserve to be loved by someone who doesn't treat you like an option. You deserve consistency after all the times you faced inconsistency. You deserve certainty after all the times people treated you like a temporary moment. You deserve devotion after all the times you gave your heart to people who didn't know how to hold it, and now, you are receiving exactly what you once poured into others: loyalty, steadiness, love that doesn't vanish at the first sign of difficulty. You are being chosen because your heart finally found someone who recognizes its value. Someone who knows the weight of what you offer. Someone who understands that constancy is not something to overlook, it is something to honor, protect, nurture. Someone is choosing you every day because you are not temporary. You are not a moment. You are not a passing emotion. You are not a fleeting connection. You are a presence that transforms the space it enters. You are a soul that resonates deeply, quietly, profoundly. You are a heart that knows how to love with intention, tenderness, loyalty. And that is why you are someone's constant in a world full of temporary people. And if you ever doubt that you deserve this kind of love, remember this: the universe never makes someone feel at home in a place where they do not belong. Hearts do not choose by accident. Souls do not connect without reason. And someone who chooses you every day is simply following the truth their heart already knows, that you are the one steady thing in a world that changes too quickly. That you are the one real thing in a world that often feels hollow, that you are the one constant they never want to lose, so stand tall in that truth. You are chosen. You are valued. You are needed. You are loved. And you are someone's constant, not because you tried to be, but because you are exactly who you were meant to be.